What's up, YouTube? How you doing today? It's Love and Liberty. You know, we're showing up every day, Monday through Friday at least, to get this work in, both on ourselves and cleaning up our environment from the toxic sludge being spread by MAGA. Because even if you don't have anything to do with the litter, if you're strong, if you love your community, if you believe in peace, unity, and prosperity, you help clean up the mess. Okay? So today we're going to talk about MAGA living in professional, perpetual cope mode. Okay? They're always coping because they're hooked on drugs, and we're going to talk about that, what those drugs are. We're going to leave up the board that we used to talk about yesterday because a lot of this still applies, and we need to understand the process. If your believers will believe any lie, you can bog down your enemies with bullshit, and while your enemies are bogged down dealing with 1,000 lies and your followers who spread them like it's their job, even if they don't believe them because they're obedient. If you bog down your enemies in that bullshit, it gives you the space to commit covert strategic actions. And MAGA being able to complete covert strategic actions while we're bogged down in their bullshit is how the minority ends up ruling the majority. Okay? And we cannot deal with them based on facts. We have to deal with them based on obedience. They're obedient little addicts. Okay? What are they addicted to? They're addicted to self-delusion, and they're addicted to rage. Okay? Self-delusion and rage. We're going to talk about how MAGA sells them self-delusion like drug dealers sell crack to keep the obedient, broken little boys subservient to the swamp that they said that they were going to come in and eliminate. Alright. Why mediocre white boys love MAGA? Quite simply, because MAGA will celebrate their mediocrity in exchange for mindless obedience. MAGA will celebrate these bitch-made, weak, mediocre white boys' mediocrity in exchange for mindless obedience, okay? Mediocre people who don't have any integrity. What does integrity mean? Integrity means you're willing to put in the actual work to become a better person. That no matter what jersey somebody wears, you can look them in the eye and say, I stand for truth. I stand for love. I stand for liberty. Why? Because you all want these things. We all want these things for ourselves. Every MAGA person wants truth. They want love. They want liberty. But they are the ones who refuse to give these things to other people. Okay, and how do mediocre white boys become attracted to this, and why does it matter? Again, MAGA will celebrate their mediocrity in exchange for mindless obedience. Mediocre white boys love MAGA because they don't have to do anything to earn status, except be obedient to Trump. No effort or work is involved. Just as long as they offer pure submission to do whatever the cult's leaders tell them to do. Whether that's parrot talking points, you know, they just repeat. These ridiculous lies that come from MAGA don't come from their followers, they come from the leaders, and then their followers are obedient. They don't even process what the leaders are telling them. That's how you can get released the Epstein files one day and we don't care about Epstein the next. They literally don't even listen to or process what they're being told, because that's not what they're here for. They're here to get effortless validation for being mediocre, to be celebrated for being mediocre without putting in any work or any effort, any discipline, never showing up to face anyone, hiding in basements with their rage. And they use self-delusion like a drug to stay high, like a crack addict. And if you love your brothers and sisters and they're addicted to drugs, you don't leave them there, but you also don't get high with them to fix it. You also don't let them come into your house and see all of your nice things while they're still addicts. You have to get them to understand that they're obedient to the drug, which over here is self-delusion, telling you that you are something when you ain't done shit, that you're intelligent when all you've done is be a parrot, an animal. But if you wear that red hat, they will pretend with you. That self-delusion is what they get high on. You must hate who we tell you to hate. And we will celebrate your mediocrity, and we will call your hate strength. You don't have to show up. You don't have to be strong. You don't actually have to do anything. Just wear the red hat and hate. Show us how hateful you can be. And we, like a little pack of hyenas, will all pretend that you're strong and give you that feeling of being high. But like any hard drug, over the long term, it will destroy you, young men, old men, trapped men, obedient men, subservient men, mediocre men. Hey, MAGA says to these mediocre men, ignore us shutting down the government to double your insurance rates, to serve the will of the insurance lobby. You know the swamp we talked about? Yeah, we're gonna double your insurance because the swamp needs some more billions. Obedience says, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, I'll shoot myself in the foot for you sir because I'm obedient for the self-delusion that you sell me. I don't care about anything other than how afraid I am, how lazy I am, how apathetic I am, how full of impotent rage, how full of ignorance I am. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to do any real work. So you're telling me I'll just put on this hat and you'll tell me that I'm brave? You're telling me that I just put on this hat and you'll tell me that I'm a patriot? All I gotta do is wear this red hat and tell me what you tell me to do, and you'll say that I'm intelligent? Okay, I want to get high. That is these addicts, okay? And if you love your brothers and sisters, you tell them the truth. You do not go and get high with them. You don't let them come into your house and act like everything's cool when they're hooked on drugs and you can't trust them because they're okay with you getting thrown in a gulag, with your neighbor getting thrown in a gulag. No, you say, when you admit that you have a problem, we can work on it. You put on the red hat, little bitch, do what you're told, and we will pretend you're smart, and you never have to study, you never have to debate anyone, you never have to take any sort of tests, you never have to validate your claims in any way. Just wear the red hat, and we will support your self-delusion. We'll pretend you're strong in proportion to how much hate you can display. If you can show us how hateful you can be, you could be a 300-pound made of McDonald's, pussy neck having, draft dodging, McDonald's made piece of shit like Donald Trump, and we'll pretend that you're manly and strong. Just show us your hate, show us your rage, and we'll pretend along with you. We'll pretend that you're a patriot when you roll over to give democracy away to a draft-dodging, felonious, PDF-loving, McDonald's-made incel. That's who you are. It's not who you have to be. If this is who you are now, it's not who you have to be tomorrow. Who in your life are you being obedient to that you're afraid to show love and liberty and that you support truth? That when you say release the Epstein files, you actually mean it. It's not just a slogan you're parroting. That when you say drain the swamp, you actually mean it. You don't mean I'll roll over while you double my insurance premiums to give the swamp billions of dollars, okay? If you're here now, if you're an obedient little spineless bitch now, if you're afraid and you're trading your obedience for self-delusion, you don't have to stay that way. But we are about the truth over here, so you can't fake it with us. You can't come tell us that you're intelligent and not debate your ideas. You cannot come and tell us that you believe in liberty and not explain why then you want to take liberty away from other people. You cannot hide on a keyboard in a basement with no romance ever in your life and tell us that you're strong and not show up. We don't believe you. They'll believe you over here. You just have to repeat the rhetoric and wear the red hat, and they'll pretend with you. People who actually put truth first are not going to pretend with you. White blood cells cannot coexist with cancer cells. Like any drug addict, we cannot help you or reunite with you until you admit that you have a problem. Okay, like any drug addict, these people are addicted to self-delusion and rage. That's what they want. They trade obedience for self-delusion. They get high on self-delusion, pretending that they're something they're not. And we know the type of broken, needy people who need to pretend they're something that they're not, okay? But like any drug addict, before you admit that your problem is obedience, it's not insurance, it's not the Epstein files, it's not the Biden family, it's nothing that you're being told to repeat like a parrot. It's actually that you simply want a group of people to pretend with you that you are something that you're not, because you don't want to put in the work, you don't want to show up man to man, you want to hide in a pack of hyenas and pretend, but like any drug addiction, that is going to destroy you in the long run. And if I didn't love you, if you weren't my brothers, I wouldn't care. I would not care if you stay here. The mediocre are rewarded by MAGA by having their wildest self-delusions accepted at face value. And I'm going to prove that to you. Okay, so the mediocre of MAGA, these mediocre white men who are obedient to MAGA, they're rewarded by having their self-delusions accepted at face value. And I just want to pull up a comment that I got on one of the videos. It's a perfect example of this. Okay, it's one of the videos about how MAGA attracts broken men who are so triggered by men of integrity. Now this person literally lived up to the title, and they don't see the irony in it because truth doesn't matter. Reality doesn't matter. What matters is the self-delusion that you get to play pretend time if you wear this little bitch-made red hat, okay? Integrity, this is the comment. Integrity, LMAO. Absolutely none on the commie left. Okay, I'm not a communist. I've never said I'm a communist. So they lie. We gotta break this all the way down. Integrity, LMAO. Absolutely none on the commie left. So they lead with a lie and they're laughing about me talking about how they're triggered by integrity. Do you see how psychotic this is? Literally so ignorant and so detached from reality that their comment that they're making could be part of the description of my video. Integrity, LMAO, absolutely none on the commie left. I'm not a communist. You're all weak, broken neckbeards. Okay, so back to having their wildest self-delusions accepted at face value. I'm weak? I mean, if you're stronger than me, come show us. I'll admit it, come work out. We can work out live, on video. We can meet up wherever you want to, okay? Show me the truth. But in this cult, you get to call somebody weak with no accountability because their wildest self-delusions are entertained. Can y'all imagine what this person probably looks like? So you see the fact that they say these things and then they run away from any light of day, accountability, or truth. Proves everything that I'm saying. I'm broken, but I'm here every single day. Think about that. Living in Boulder, downtown Boulder, Colorado. I can walk everywhere in Boulder from my house. Think about it. I'm broken. I'm a Marine. Okay? Doing this every day at the same time. Who are you? I'm telling you who the broken people are, and I'm laying it out very clearly. People who say release the Epstein files one day and don't care about them the next, people who say drain the swamp one day and the next day don't turn an eye at the government being shut down to give the insurance lobby millions of dollars and double health insurance premium for everyone in America, let alone the poorest people, to take away food benefits from the impoverished. Yes, that's broken. And I don't even know who you are, okay? So it's not personal, but yes, this is broken. When you sell your obedience for self-delusion, that is being broken. And so back to me proving my point. On a title that says How MAGA Attracts Broken Men, here is a broken man who are so triggered by men of integrity. Here's this broken man in my comments who will not accept my invitation. I was like, you can call in, we can have a video chat, we can meet face to face. And you can say whatever you want that doesn't get the channel, a kind of strike. You can tell me whatever you want to, but I get to look at you and I get to tell you what I think you are, if that's what you want to do. If you want to debate policy or ideals, I'm here for that. How you're gonna call us weak and broken? We say, come compete then, bitch. Show up then, bitch. We know who you are hiding behind a keyboard. Prove me wrong. And I'll shake your hand after. I'll shake your hand after if you prove me right. I'll shake your hand after if you prove me wrong. Because this is about truth to me. We're not scared of you. We're not hiding from you. We're saying, how do you want to compete? Let's do it in the light of day. Let's do it as gentlemen and see who's who. Let's debate ideas. Commie left. No integrity on the commie left as they lie and don't see the irony in leading with an absurd lie while laughing at the idea that we're the ones who have integrity. It would make your brain run out your ears if you didn't understand they do not care. What they care about is being obedience. This little bitch-made toadstool of an incel hiding in a dark basement somewhere is getting high off of displaying obedience, okay? And the idea that maybe I can get some attention from a real man because a real man has never mentored me or shown up for me in my life. So it's like a child lashing out, but we have to talk about it because when we say they're broken, we lay out the case for it. We make the argument. When you give up your free will, who you are as an independent human being to become an NPC for PDFs, draft dodging felonious con men, embracing lies, doing anything you're told because you just need somebody to pretend that you're something you're not, that is broken. And I don't need anybody to come on the stream for me to demonstrate that. Anybody listening to this knows that, even those people. But what will they do? When they feel that truth and it hurts and they're not willing to do something to actually fix it, they'll get high on self-delusion. They'll tell themselves a lie, they'll pretend that it's true, and these other fucking losers will pretend with them. That is the exchange. And the way that the leadership works is when you have a group of followers who do not care what's true, you can bog down your enemies with 10,000 lies. And if your enemy is dumb enough, like Democrats right now, to engage with all of these lies at face value, like trash that we have to clean up, while we're busy doing that, the leadership can complete covert actions like crypto scams that are going on. MAGA followers don't even know how much money Donald Trump is scamming out of crypto, how much he's scamming out of his inauguration, how much he's scamming out of dictatorial leaders of other countries. They do not care that anything they pretend to be mad about Biden, Trump is doing 1,000,000 times more in their fucking faces, and they do not care. Because if you wear the red hat, you get to play pretend. Mediocre white men want to play pretend. Okay? I think that was okay. I'm going to read this comment in totality and then we're going to wrap up talking about this comment as a way that we prove their self-delusion. There is no way that this comment is not self-delusion. I'm going to read the whole thing and then I'm going to break it down one more time. We're going to move on. Integrity, LMAO. Absolutely none on the commie left. You are all weak, broken neckbeards, okay? I'm not a communist. You're showing that you have no integrity when you lead with a lie, and then you laugh. Like, laughing to them is like babies sucking on a pacifier. When you see those laugh emojis, when you see the LMAO and all of this, it's like sucking their thumb behavior. It's self-delusional, like, I know my other hyenas are laughing with me. It's a mating call to other incels. I need help. This real man is showing me the truth and I don't like it, so come pretend with me. It's so pathetic. And we see the evidence of it, and they will never face a real man, man to man. Not even by phone, not by video call, certainly not in person. Prove me wrong, you little bitches. Please prove me wrong. And when you don't, you just... Only a broken person can't show up on camera and debate their ideas. If you want to talk about the commie left, you're scared to get on video and talk about that? I'm not scared to get on video and talk economics with any of you. Nobody. Why would I be? I know what I'm talking about. I'm not taking a drug that allows me to pretend that I know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about, so I'll be here. And you'll be hiding in your little basement in the shadows because we all know who y'all are. You're broken, and we're not trying to cut you off. We're saying the truth cannot withstand liars. People who value truth cannot coexist with people who put obedience over truth. Just like healthy people cannot coexist with crackheads. It doesn't mean we leave crackheads to die in the street. It doesn't mean we go get high with them. It doesn't mean we invite them into our house when they're high on drugs to look at all of our nice things and think about how they're going to rob us. No, we say when you admit that you have a problem because you realize you're destroying yourself with this bullshit every day that you use to get high and play pretend, when you finally say, I need a help, brother, give me a hand. I'm tired of being rage. I'm tired of pretending self-delusion is going to make me strong. I want to learn how to get strong. I want to learn how to be a real man. I want to learn how to love my community and not be afraid of these little bitch-made fucks who I'm afraid to show love in front of. Like, who of the MAGA little trolls watching this out there is going to stop me from saying, I love you all. I love you. That's why I'm here. None of you. None of your bitch-made dads, none of your bitch-made pastors, none of your bitch-made politicians that you follow, because they're all fucking weak. None of you will show up, and that's how we know who you are. We're not gonna play pretend, okay? We will accept you when you embrace the truth. When you say, I disagree with you about tax policy, but I do agree that all humans want love, all humans want liberty, all humans want truth, so I'm gonna say, we can put these things first and then we can talk about what that looks like. But they can't say that because that is not what they're interested in. They're interested in getting high off self-delusion by a group of bitch-made losers telling them they're something they're not and everybody playing pretend. And by pretending that how much rage I show is strength. Like, you can't fake this, bitch. If you're bigger, come show me. Come teach me. I'm not scared of the truth. But when y'all say that we're weak, nobody believes you. No, I got a bunch of videos queued up of veterans like me who you will not show up to face. We will not let you play pretend. These little bitches will let you play pretend. If that's what you want, go to the kids' table and play with them. When you want to hand out of the misery, when you want to stop being an incel, when you actually want some love and community and meaningfulness in your life, you come holler at us because we're here for you. But we are not going to play pretend and lie to you. Over here, you have to earn respect. You don't get respect by wearing a fucking hat. Fuck that participation trophy bullshit that y'all want to get high on. MAGA trades pure self-delusion for obedience. So the cult gives self-delusion. We will pretend with you bitch-made losers that you are whatever you want to pretend you are. We will give you that if you give us blind obedience. And what does that mean? We're gonna tell you what we want you to say and spread out in the community, and they go and do it. And stupid Democrats, stupid liberals, look at these 10,000 lies in the street and they're like, lie 1 of 10,000, lie 2 of 10,000, lie 3 of 10,000, lie 4 of 10,000. You're never gonna clean it up that way. You have to go to, why are these fucking losers dumping their trash in our streets? Because we have a gang of mediocre white men who are obedient to a very few billionaires commanding them. Do what we tell you, little bitches. Do what we tell you. And they're like, yes sir, release the Epstein files. Just kidding, tomorrow don't release the Epstein files. We were just kidding. Whatever you say, sir. And dumbass liberals and Democrats are like dealing with every lie, trying to pick up every little piece of trash, instead of going, wait. There's this huge group of mediocre men who are hurting because they're broken and they're getting high like drug addicts. Maybe half of them want to actually get off the drug of self-delusion, and instead of having to live a delusional life, they can have a real life like this, where you really are strong. You really have done shit in life. You really have been a Marine. You really have been a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. You really do live in one of the nicest cities in the US and have time to do this every day. You don't get that by accident. You don't get to pretend over here. But any of you are capable. Any of you are capable of becoming men of honor, courage, decency, integrity, truth, respectable people. But you cannot fake it. And why do you want to? Why do you want to be an NPC for a rage cult? It's crazy. MAGA trades pure self-delusion for obedience. They offer their followers an imaginary make-believe safe space where the weakest, most fearful, and most hateful can simply type. They can just type that they're brave, strong, and patriotic, and the fellow hyena cult members will all pretend to believe them. And I say pretend to believe them because none of them even believe the bullshit. It's just like we're all playing make-believe together. So we all pretend together. They know when you're typing from a basement that you're an obese incel who's never had romance in your life, who is weak as fuck, and just using their Twitter fingers to get some attention that they never got in life, and they're getting it in a misguided way. Even the other cult members know this. This is the entire concept of the Emperor's New Clothes parable. You guys know the Emperor's New Clothes? Where everybody pretends that the Emperor's clothes are beautiful, but he's naked. That's what this is. It's exactly what this is. And they're doing it for the same reason. Cowardice, delusion, fear, ignorance, laziness, impotent rage. So the title of this video today should really be about mediocre white boys with no integrity, okay? Because being mediocre today doesn't mean you have to stay that way. The title should really be about mediocre white boys with no integrity, because being mediocre today doesn't mean anyone has to stay that way. Anyone can admit they have a problem and change at any time. But real men do not offer you an imaginary safe space to play pretend. It's antithetical to who we are. We are not going to pretend you're strong when you're not. We're not going to pretend you have good ideas when you're just a parrot. You have to show up and articulate your ideas and debate them and let them be challenged and defend them. I was going to say and show your face, but you could even just do it with your voice. Because we can hear in your voice who you are. We can hear the conviction, we can hear the intelligence, we can hear the education, we can hear the time put in to the ideas you're trying to talk about. And that's why you hide, because you know these things. And you only get to play pretend with the drug dealers, not the real men. The real men are here anytime you want to say, you know what, I admit that I have a problem with obedience. Being obedience to the men that I call beta, not me. The men that MAGA define as beta, that's their leaders. Their followers submit to men they define as beta males. Mike Johnson, Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, Donald Trump Jr. Bring it the fuck on, motherfuckers. As gentlemen, I don't want to get it twisted. If this ever gets looked at by anybody, I'm talking about as gentlemen. We can do whatever any of them want to do. I'm not naming the competition. You want to debate? Let's debate. You want to take an IQ test? Let's do that. You want to lift? Let's do that. What do y'all want to do in the light of day against real men? Because y'all, just like this comment I read, just like Donald Trump Jr. does every day, y'all want to say that we're weak. Bitch, please, behind your keyboard. Please come show us. Again, as gentlemen, we don't have hate for you. We love the truth. Come show me you're stronger than me and I will. It's an objective thing. It's not up for opinion, okay? I'm not afraid of the truth. These people are afraid of the truth, and young men need to see the difference. Men who are tired of being obedient little spineless bitches to who they call beta males need to understand we must be divided when you embrace lies and obedience. As soon as you start saying that you're for these principles, we're brothers again. It's as easy as that. We don't have to agree on tax policy. We don't have to agree on immigration policy, but we have to agree on this. We have to agree on truth, love and liberty. Why do we have to agree on love and liberty? Because y'all all want that for yourselves. I want that for myself. Every human on earth wants love. Every human on earth wants liberty. So if you deny that to other people, you are a hypocrite and you're down here. And you have separated yourself. We didn't separate you. You made a choice to be obedient to toxic bullshit, delusion. And as soon as you say, you know what, I don't want to be obedient to delusion, I want to live in the real world, then you'll admit that, okay, if I want love and liberty for myself, I have got to be okay with making sure that other people have the best shot at that too. I cannot kick down on people when I desire love, when I desire liberty, because that would make me a hypocrite, that would make me a liar, and that would put me in the self-delusion. Liars delude themselves into saying that they're good people. That's a delusion. When you stand against truth and love and liberty, you're not a good person. It's like a weed from a crop-bearing plant. You must separate them. Cancer cells from white blood cells. You must separate them. Stop being self-delusional. Stop being toxic. Embrace truth, love, and liberty, and we're brothers and sisters, and we can disagree on policy. That's how easy it is. Because being mediocre today does not mean you have to stay that way. You can admit you have a problem being obedient, and you can change at any time. But real men do not offer you an imaginary safe space to play pretend. We challenge you to show up and do something real. Show up and do something real. Stop being an NPC, giving your free will obediently to a cult who sells you self-delusion to control you. Who are these mediocre white men really trying to impress? When you become an NPC for beta males, using MAGA's own definition, that whole thing is a joke. It's cringe, it's ridiculous, they don't even understand what they're talking about. But by their own definition of beta male, that's who their leaders are, and they submit to who they call beta males. Who are you trying to impress? They're usually trying to impress failures of fathers. Okay, a lot of you guys don't want to admit that your fathers were failures. And getting an F on a test doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person, but you still failed. People who raise men who deny truth, who deny love, who deny liberty are failures as fathers. Maybe they were failed, okay? Maybe their grandfather was failed. Maybe the failure goes back, but it doesn't change that when you raise human beings who go against these things, you have failed them. Because human beings naturally desire these things. It takes fear, laziness, apathy, rage, and ignorance to turn a human being away from truth. So they usually don't want to acknowledge that they had failed fathers. They haven't realized, created the illusion of masculinity through rage, bluster, and fear. Their failed fathers create the illusion of masculinity, the self-delusion, illusion of masculinity by showing rage, bluster, and fear. Oh, immigrants are gonna take our jobs, I can't compete. Even though this country has had a non-stop flood of immigration from the beginning, which is literally who we are, they're afraid. You can use their fear to take them like a cow by a nose ring all around the pasture. Release the Epstein files one day, don't care about them the next day. Obedient cows. And these men are trying to impress their obedient cow failure fathers many of the times, never realizing that this fake masculinity of rage, bluster, and fear, yet they will never show up to face a real man in any way. They will not debate a real man. They will not video chat a real man. They will not go live with a real man and exchange ideas. They will not show up to an in-person debate. They hide, and that's how you can know who they are. They type, rage, bluster, fear, type, but you're like, yo, show up. Nope. We immediately know who's who. Just like when you look at a cancer cell under a microscope, it can't hide. But cancer cells do try to trick other cells in the human body. They literally try to send out signals that they're normal, healthy cells. In other words, cancer cells lie to white blood cells and healthy cells. They lie to try to proliferate. They hope that the white blood cells are too ignorant and lazy to separate them. But when you look at them under a microscope, you know who's who. When you see the little typies, but they will never show up, you know who's who. So who are you trying to impress being an NPC? Giving up your free will to be obedient to who they define as beta males. Who are you trying to impress? Or are you just trying to get high on the self-delusion? It's not about impressing anybody. It's about, I know that I'm weak, so I put on the red hat and these fucking idiots will pretend that I'm strong. Notice the lazy mudslinging from the shadows and how and when I offer them a chance to step into the light as men, the weakest, most spineless and cowardly among us, MAGA, never show up. They will not show up to speak with a real man, to debate a real man, to work out with a real man. They won't show up. They're everything behind a keyboard, like the Wizard of Oz behind his smokescreen. But when we pull the curtain back, it's a bunch of closeted, scared, weak little bitch boys who need to grow the fuck up. Because nobody who's straight gives a fuck about who somebody else loves. The only people who care about trans people and gay people are people who are in the closet, and they're in a religion that would punish them for coming out of the closet, so they get mad at other people living their truth and living their liberty because they can't. So again, we look at you under the microscope, nobody's straight. I don't give a fuck who you love. Why would I care? I don't want to think about what you're doing in your bedroom. I do not care. I don't care what's under your clothes. I don't care. I'm happy. I have love. Okay? I'm good. Why would I want to deny you love? You can get love. Get love however you want, as long as it's done in an honorable way. When you actually are getting love, that means there's no abuse, manipulation, nothing going on. As long as there's nothing like that going on, the only people who care about who other people love are people who are in the closet. When you pull the curtain back on all the little keyboard types that will never show their face in the light of day, who will never go face to face with the real man, when we pull the curtain back, it's a bunch of closeted, scared, weak little bitch boys who need to grow the fuck up. And if I didn't love you, I would not tell you the truth. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't say we could still be brothers. But you have to admit you have a problem with obedience. You have to admit you want these things for yourself, and to deny them to other people would make you a liar. then we can be brothers. We can disagree on tax policy, we can disagree on economic policy, immigration policy, and I will still call you my brother. We can still be part of one tribe. We don't have to be divided from this. But this is bullshit. This is made to attract drug addicts. This is a crack dealer. How do crack dealers stay in business? A lot of people want to get high. These people want to get high on self-delusion. They don't want to do any real work. They don't want to debate. They will not show their face. They just want to get high. They want to play pretend that they're strong when they're weak, that they're patriots when they're lazy, that they're patriots when they're kneeling to who they call beta males, that their rage is somehow strength, when it's really impotence and weakness and a fear to buckle down and do whatever they need to fix what the rage is about. But these people say that everybody else is your problem. Just get high on that rage. We'll go along with you. That's what they sell. And they trade their obedience. You separate yourself from men of integrity when you do this. We don't separate you, you separate yourself, okay? Now we're going to put in the work. After this little hour-long chat, we're going to get our work in. Every day I start with a 4-mile run, okay? Every single day, at least 5 days a week, usually 7 days a week. My morning starts with a 4-mile run. This is just a part of it. And we lift every day so we don't have to go crazy with volume, because we get volume over lifting more than 300 days a year. And we do such that we can recover every day and get volume every day, full body. You can check out our podcast episodes if you want the details of how I do nutrition and exercise, cardio versus hypertrophy. Or you can email me at hello@loveandliberty.com, hello@loveandliberty.com, and I will help you for free, okay? I will help you for free. This channel will never, ever, ever accept any sponsorships, and it will never try to sell you anything. I will help anybody for free who needs a brother, a mentor, or just somebody to show up for them, okay? I'm here. I'm doing this every day. Now we're going to get to work. We're going to watch some videos about mediocre white men, and we'll stop and comment as we go, address anything that you guys want to talk about in the chat in almost real time. We have ultra low latency, so when you comment something, I should see it, within 5 seconds or so. So now that we've talked about everything, if you're at this point in the video and you're just tuning in live, we already went over everything I want to talk about today. Now I'm just going to get my workout in while I react to some of these videos. As always, if you want me to react to any videos, just send them to me and I will. Alright, that being said, I'm going to stop this music. We're going to get to work, and we'll chop it up with the chat if there's anything you guys want to talk about.
The coddling is for the white boys. That's what's happening right now. I am tired of the white tears. Listen, if you are competent, you are not concerned. When I walk into Congress every single day, you know why I don't feel away and why you can't make me doubt who I am? Is because I know that I had to work 10 times as hard as they did just to get into the seat. When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder. This is why they don't want us to have education. This is why they are trying to literally say we won't fund the HBCUs, because they know that if they've already gone after affirmative action and they're saying, you know what, don't allow them to come into, say, these PWIs, as we call them, don't allow them to come into these institutions. We know why they created the HBCUs in the first place. It was because they wouldn't allow us into the white institutions. And so now they're not allowing us in. And now they're saying, you know what, we're also going to defund the HBCUs. You know why? Because they don't want any more Kamala Harrises. They don't want any more Jasmine Crockett's. But I got news for them. I don't care what they do. We will fight to the end to make sure that we get our due. Because again, if you want to talk about the people that shouldn't be in this country, you probably need to look in the mirror. Because the last time I checked, the Native Americans who some of have been rounding up, or the Puerto Ricans who are absolutely Americans. Listen, the only people that came and colonized this place are your ancestors, Trump.
If you scroll down social media and check the average racist timeline and comment section, they'll try to make you believe that it's the blacks, the Mexicans, or the Chinese communists that's leading to the downfall of the whites in America. But the actual truth is you guys have always been mediocre and just had the benefit of oppressing everybody around you. What you're starting to see is the fruits of a people that have never had to compete for anything. What you're starting to see is black people that, just like Jasmine said, has always had to work 10 times as hard just to get to the heights we reach, closing the gap. And their response to that is what it's always been. They lash out.
The great replacement of white people is far more sinister than any redistricting project. That is at the core of the Democrat project, at the core. And Jasmine Crockett is just some circus act in that entire operation. But it's definitely serious. You shouldn't take what she says seriously. It's just a joke. What she represents is very serious.
That's Charlie Kirk.
Continue attempt to eliminate the
The
white
racist
population in this country.
Charlie
Dear
Kirk.
white people, it ain't nobody else's fault but your own. You're the biggest contributors to your own decline. Stop playing the blame, shame, victim game. Soft times make weak people. And while you guys was getting fat and taking your foot off the gas, everybody else was working and learning. Because our excellence isn't an option while you guys' is. And here's where they keep missing the boat. And you just heard Charlie doing exactly this. Y'all so focused on us that you're missing out on training your next generation on what they need to do to beat their contemporaries without a handout. It's time y'all stop complaining and being victims and pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. The days is long, but the years is short. And every day y'all spend complaining and obsessed with us and spewing these lame-ass fixed stats to try and make us look bad is another day every other race is slowly but surely closing the gap on the hundreds of years of a head start you've had.
True.
And here's another thing. Y'all so lazy that instead of innovating new tactics, y'all still using the same shit y'all was using before I was born. We've caught on. Get some new tricks. We got too much access to real information to fall for that same outdated bullshit and propaganda. It worked when everybody only had one news channel to watch. Shit's so terrible the kids that look like you ain't falling for it.
If you seriously believe the 13% of the population and 50% of the crime, you need to get fact-checked, and I'm about to do it to you. In 2016, white people committed 70% of the convicted crime, and black people only committed 27%. Then in 2017, white people committed 68% of the reported crime, and black people only committed 26% of it. And in 2024, white people committed 53% of the reported crime, while black people only committed 25%. So this narrative on 13% of the population, 50% of the crime is wrong. You know who actually commits 50% of the crime? White people. But guess what stat black people are 13% of the population and 50% in? Exonerations. You know, when they're wrongly convicted, all you're doing by spreading this fake fact is allowing more people to profile and be racist towards black people. You know what's the highest percentage of people who are victims of white people? Black people.
We'll see what this young little kid is going to learn as he grows up, as he's telling them the truth. He's telling these bitch-made morons the truth from the mouths of babes, from the children, okay? Because he hears this, and as a young child who hasn't been corrupted, he's like, well, what's true? He goes and looks it up and debunks all of their talking points about crime. And he's like, why are y'all out here repeating these lies? I'm a kid. I just looked this up. I see that you're repeating lies. Here's the truth. He doesn't understand that they don't care. They do not come up with what they say. They are obedient to the leaders who are a tiny group of billionaires, and the billionaires tell them what they want them to say, so they spread lies all throughout our society, and this kid spends however much of his time dealing with lie 1 out of 10,000, 2 out of 10,000, 3 out of 10,000, 4 out of 10,000, diligently trying to pick up the trash they spread on the street but he's missing the source of the trash. They don't care about what's true, which is what he's giving them. They care about being obedient in exchange for people who will play along with their self-delusion. They don't care about the facts that young Tristan is breaking down for them. They could not care less. It goes in one ear and out the other because they say, I am obedient to this jersey. Why? Because they allow me to pretend that I'm everything I'm not. So my young friend, if you ever see this, for the liberals that watch this, you must understand going back and forth with them is like going back and forth with a crackhead. Are you going to go back and forth and argue with a crackhead? No. Why? Because you know they're just talking gibberish. It's the drugs talking, it's the self-delusion talking, it's the obedience talking. They don't care. Okay? And like you deal with anybody hooked on hard drugs, you have to go to the root of the problem, and they have to admit that they have a problem. That they have a problem getting high on self-delusion and selling their obedience, becoming NPCs in exchange for getting high on self-delusion with a bunch of fucking losers.
And if you look at all the shootings, guess who are the shooters? White dudes. So let's all think long and hard on who actually commits 50% of the crime.
Then they got the nerve to talk about DEI hires. And how they just be taking terms, flipping it, and giving it a whole new meaning. But by the white supremacist definition of DEI, they've been the greatest beneficiaries of it. We all know historically who hasn't been qualified, but gotten the jobs and opportunities anyway.
Are you afraid of competition?
I am not afraid of competition. Competition can be good. That being said,
Are you afraid to compete?
Yes, he is.
Are you afraid of some other television station beating you? I mean, you're not. Okay.
You know why? No, you know why?
Because you're confident. That's
No, not just confident. Because see, I have skill set. I understand what I do. See, but what you're telling me
It
is
sounds like confidence.
No. What you're telling me is here. Richard, here's what it sounds like. Listen what it sounds like. I'm not a psychologist.
Can I finish my point?
But you're afraid. You are afraid that you now are going to have to compete. You've had such a head start. You've had an 80-yard head start in a 100-meter dash, and now you're upset that people are catching up.
Sure.
Why are you so afraid?
Sure, everyone likes to win. But to be honest, in terms of Donald, what's great about Donald Trump is that he hasn't been saying, oh, this is great global competition for all Americans, let's do it. No, he's actually said, I care about my people first. I care about people. He's referring to all Americans. When he says, my people first, America first, what he's saying is that he is going to help the people of this country first.
But you don't
he's
want
not going
that.
to throw them out to the wind.
But you don't want that. You don't want.
Yes, I do.
So you don't mind blacks and Hispanics and Asians, Native Americans getting jobs, doing well. You don't mind that?
Of course I don't mind that.
Okay, but you're so concerned that oh my God, whites are not getting hired when that's not true.
Clearly whites are getting hired. My claim is that effectively every major institution in this country, from governmental institutions to corporations, are discriminating against.
If you don't know this is what an incel looks like, this is what an incel looks like.
How?
And white.
When you're majority white.
Let's really talk about it. If you believe race doesn't matter and that we're all equal and so on, then the Apple Corporation should be 65% white. It's not.
The reason why it's not 65% white is not because you're being discriminated against. It's because there's non-whites that are better at tech. He can't actually think that somebody with a tech company would mess with their bottom line just to discriminate against somebody white, right? Them white tears is real. Then they got the nerve to say we be playing victim. Stop complaining and develop your skills like everybody else has to.
Hold up. You said it should be 65% white, but if Apple is saying because maybe if Asians are going and studying in those sectors, that's why.
Right. Sure, but you're just begging the question.
No, I'm not begging the question. What I'm saying is this here. Why are more white?
Why are they doing sciences and not? Why are Asians succeeding in science, whereas Africans aren't?
I went to Texas A&M. Why are more whites in agriculture?
We have a natural, tendency to do that. I don't know.
No, you don't. First of all, black people actually out there simply
Please
because
don't.
kind.
Black people created agriculture.
No, but we damn sure did the work. But here's my whole point here. Here's my whole point, which I'm trying to get you to understand.
Okay.
If you have more whites who are going into agriculture, again, I'm a Texas A&M University graduate.
I grew up in Texas.
Okay, where?
In Dallas.
Okay, which part of Dallas?
The white part.
Which part? There's a lot of white parts in Dallas.
Just Preston Hollow.
Yeah, I see exactly where your thought process comes from. That's why you have the white country clubs there as well, because they don't want other people in there. But again,
Are there black churches, black country clubs?
Are there black churches? They have black country clubs where you have black people who play. But also,
Aren't there black institutions that are just for you?
No, it's not just for us, because the fact of the matter
Black
is,
churches, those are just for you guys.
no, actually, no,
That's great.
Actually, no, it's not, because there are black churches where you can come if you want to, doesn't matter. And just like white church, you can come. That's my point, but that's what it is. So you're actually correct. Here's my whole point. I'm talking about agriculture. There are more whites who are going into agriculture. Why? Because that's the area they're going into. So if Asians are going into a particular area, that's where they're going.
You're begging the question. All I'm saying is, why are Asians succeeding at these technical fields?
They're succeeding because they're putting in the work to learn the skill. Something that you guys have never had to do. At the end of the day, they want it easy. These are the actual people that want the handout while accusing everybody else of that very thing.
Why? Because again, you're just begging questions. Like at some point,
why are whites succeeding in agriculture?
Let me finish. I'll ultimately get to this. It's about human nature, and it's about their unique gifts. Asians have
unique gifts.
Yes, East Asians have a higher, on average, IQ than Europeans. It's remarkable. It doesn't surprise me that they succeed at math. They succeed in science. Oh, that's a terrible stereotype.
I'm not using stereotype.
It is what it is.
All I'm saying is here, Richard. The fact of the matter is here.
This is actually why I would want to restrict immigration of East Asians. It's not because I think I'm afraid of them. I actually respect them. I respect their civilization. It's about protecting my people. That's what it's about.
But here's the people. When you keep saying my people, then you say all Americans when you're not talking about it. Here's the reality, Richard. The reality is here.
You have to navigate between people you care about and
So here's the deal, Richard. We're not going anywhere. And see, Richard, it's about to be a little tough for you. About to be a little tough for you, Richard, because see, you and your people have had a great head start. Tremendous head start. 20-odd Africans arriving in 1619. One second. 16. But see, that's what I'm saying. When you have a head start, that means you're scared to compete. See, I know some other whites out there who are not white nationalists, who are not afraid of competition, who are not afraid of this. But here's the reality. We're not going anywhere. And you might want to suck that up. And I know it's rough.
Suck it up, bitch.
But I suggest what you should be doing, Richard, is preparing your generation for a world of competition when you have to actually, when you don't get the head start your mom and daddy gave you, that you're going to start maybe not 80 yards ahead, but 30. But you know what? You may want to train harder because we're training harder and we're going to catch up.
We're going to win. And also,
you're not going to win,
Mr. Martin, I want to tell you, you've got to prepare yourself. You've dealt with a bunch of guilt.
These incels think that they can just speak reality into existence. They're highly superstitious. That's why they get high on self-delusion. He can just say, we're gonna win, like we, and he's talking about people like me. Fuck you, bitch. He would never face somebody like me. These fucking losers. It's still hiding when you go on a show that you know is gonna treat you way nicer than you deserve. Come debate me face to face.
Ridden silly whites all your life, and we are waking up, we are recognizing who we are, and we see an amazing future.
Richard,
so you better get ready.
I'm telling you right now, Richard.
Look at that pathetic fucking bitch-made incel smirk. You know, he's so serious because he's had to live this. He has had to do 100 times better at every level of life than this privileged little fucking weasel bitch who will never face a real man like me who will tell you to your face why you are in fact a bitch. Stay in your little safe spaces and keep getting high on that self-delusion and thinking that you're gonna win. The Nazis thought that they were gonna win. The Nazis thought it was over. They thought they had it won. You see what happened.
Here's the deal. 1619, 20-odd Africans arrived, Fort Comfort, Virginia. Okay, 1619, 397 years ago. Trust me, we're resilient. we're not going anywhere. And I'm gonna tell you right here, as my frat brother Vernon Woodson Tandy said in 1937, we will fight until hell freezes over, and then we will fight on the ice. You better.
And real men are fighting with him.
Fight on your hands.
Real men and veterans are fighting with
I
him.
hear this a lot.
Not these little
Well,
bitch-made
CJ,
Nazi incels.
Doesn't everybody want the best for their race of people? Of course they do. But the key difference is this. Whiteness is rooted in white supremacy. And that white supremacy comes with the violent exclusion and oppression of other marginalized groups. While everybody else's race to the top, it simply doesn't. Now.
All right.
Chevy makes America's most dependable trucks.
What we got next up?
Today, so Kylie is filling in for us here at iHip News, and the Dementia World Tour is continuing, you guys. The man who successfully identified a giraffe on a piece of paper and bragged about it has now met with President Xi of China. And as you know, President Xi and China are positioning themselves as the new world leader. And Xi has 0 F's to give. And just watch this whole exchange, Kylie and viewer. Watch this whole exchange and listen to it between Xi and Trump. Play the clip.
Mr. President, the President of the People's Republic of China is
Look how disgusted he looks. Like Donald Trump smells like shit.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt.
He's like, oh my God, this man smells like shit.
Okay. All right, so there is Kanks, and you can tell that she is just like, it is so beneath me to come shake this imbecile's hand. And you have to remember, Kylie, do you remember all of the TikToks when J.D. Vance referred to Chinese workers as peasants and how offended the Chinese workers were?
I do.
Yeah.
I watched this video last night, and he thinks he's an idiot, and he does not hide it, which I actually really appreciate, because I feel like other world leaders, I want them to show him how much they hate him. I want him to know, and this is finally giving it to me.
I agree with that. I always think a lot of these world leaders are playing into the Putin playbook, which is to psychologically flatter him. And I think it's a real short-term positioning for these world leaders. Like, if you're going to stand for democracy and you're going to stand for the rule of law, and the United States is skirting all of those things, and we are seeing human rights violations in our own country, our European allies should be the first to call that out. But instead, it's always this suck up because we have all the bombs. And so I love that she did this, because at the end of the day, the Chinese economy is only dependent upon the sales to America. It's only 10%. They can make up for that, and they're disciplined enough and not as materialistic and instant gratification as Americans. So they're kind of like, you disrespect us. You are all racist. You need us way more than we need you, and you're going to call our workforce that provides all the riffraffs and knickknacks for your online flea market, President Kanks, and you're going to be disrespectful about our workers. And I think he met him with exactly the disrespect that Kanks deserves. Okay, moving along. This was before he met with Xi. You guys, the dementia is just really off the charts. It's unbelievable. The U.S. government is shut down. The poorest Americans, military leaders, etc., are not going to receive their paychecks. They're not going to receive food. Kanks doesn't give a shit, and he doesn't even know who he's meeting with and what's going on. Kylie, play the clip.
Amazing meeting. I said, what's your name? Toyota. I said, you're rich. And he's going to replace.
Okay. He says he met Mr. Toyota, and then Trump responds, you are rich. And then Trump lies and says that Toyota says they're going to invest something like $10 billion in the United States of America. And reporting comes out after that, where Toyota comes on the record and says, no, we're not doing that. And he does all of this stuff. And I would think the biggest lead of this whole shit show of an Asian tour that starts with him bragging about acing a dementia test, him getting lost with the PM of Japan, getting humiliated by President Xi, doesn't seem to know where he is. It says in Japan that he lost the election that he actually won. I would think the lead story of all corporate news, mainstream news, New York Times, Washington Post, everybody would be, the president has full-blown dementia, 25th Amendment now.
No, and the only place I've found that is places like the Daily Beast or Rolling Stone. I've gone through every headline and this whole trip, and it's President Trump makes a good point about the economy, and he doesn't. And so I agree with you, and I don't think that we can ever rely on mainstream media to start picking it up.
No, they sanewash it, they provide cover, and they have normalized the absolutely abnormal. And quite frankly, it is elder abuse. And this man, it really is. I mean, the fact, and I think it's making everybody dumber, and it's making all of our institutions in our country, the credibility is eroding so much. Okay, moving along. Miles Taylor, Kylie, was a guy that worked in Trump 1.0. He's as sharp as a tack, and he is constantly speaking out because he used to be inside the Death Star in Trump 1.0, and so he has an intimate knowledge of the psychology and decision-making behind kinks. And this is really chilling. Pop this up. Miles Taylor tweets, I was part of the internal Trump administration team trying to convince the president to end the shutdown in 2018 to 2019 for 35 days before people went hungry, workers lost pay, and the government services.
See, anybody who ends up in MAGA, who ultimately chooses truth over obedience, leaves MAGA. You cannot stay in MAGA when you choose truth. The only way that you get to stay in MAGA and get the rewards of the self-delusion that they offer is when you are mindlessly obedient. When you become an NPC for MAGA, you can be MAGA. As soon as you put the truth over obedience, you're out.
Lapsed. Here's what I learned. He doesn't give a shit. And this is the biggest con out of all of the cons that this man has successfully completed. And it is convincing people that he gives a shit about them. And his words are simply that, they're words. It's a jet stream of bullshit. This man thinks the word groceries is an old-fashioned word because he's never had to go grocery shopping. He is a trust fund baby. He is a Nepo baby. I don't think he's ever been to a grocery store. He might have done one grocery store stunt on, election. But he thinks the word groceries is like some old word that his mother used to use. He is so out of touch, but more than anything, this is really a psychological analysis that he is fully incapable of empathy. He fully doesn't understand that the working class people that he is taxing more so that his fat cat rich billionaire friends can pay less in taxes, that they're suffering. He doesn't understand that somebody might go to the doctor and receive news that they have a tumor, but the pathology test that they really need to confirm it isn't covered by their insurance. He doesn't understand what any of that stuff means. This man is the poor man's idea of what a rich, smart man is. And I think because we have worshipped wealth so much in the United States of America, and we have worshipped celebrity, he has just been excused for being this complete piece of shit because he's rich.
Let me ask you this, if he did
They do not care about anything he does, anything he says. They care that by putting on the red hat, they get to play pretend. That mediocre men who've never done anything get to pretend that there's something when they offer blind obedience to that fucking incel. They don't care what he says. What he's really telling them is, if you wear my hat and you repeat whatever I tell you and you're obedient to me no matter what, I will let you keep getting high on the delusion that you're something that you're not. And you don't have to prove anything in this cult. You say you're strong, you're strong. You say you're rich, you're rich. You say you're a citizen if you're in the cult. Okay? Go along with release the Epstein files one day, who cares about them the next day, and we'll let you play pretend with us. And we'll all pretend with you. Jennifer, they don't care what he's saying. They don't care. They care that he is the crack dealer of self-delusion, where mediocre men get to pretend that they're not mediocre, but they don't have to do anything. They don't have to prove anything. They don't have to do any kind of work or validation. They just get to wear the red hat and play pretend with other bitch-made losers like a pack of hyenas. Jennifer, they don't fucking care what he says, bro.
And all of those things, do you think he would give a shit?
I'm out here in the woods, and you gotta see this. It's the new Patriot Power.
Liberals have got to understand these are drug addicts getting high on self-delusion. Would you argue with a crackhead? No. That's the same reason you don't argue with MAGA unless you talk about their problem, which is you're getting high on self-delusion and you're paying for it with your obedience. You're giving up your free will, you're becoming an NPC so that these people will play pretend with you because you can't face reality. You're not strong enough to do the actual work that needs to be done in reality. So over here you just get to get high and point fingers at other working class people.
I mean, I think that those two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I think not understanding those things has exacerbated his psychopathy. But that's a good point. I mean, I think his father, always probably treated him the same way he treats Don Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a lot of mommy and daddy issues. I don't know if you've seen the picture of his mother with it's kind of like Trump's hair, but the female version.
I have. I've never seen anything like it. I read that this is going to be one of the biggest food insecurity issues since the Great Depression for Americans. And so I think you're right. It probably started from the bottom to where he does not give a shit, because I don't think that they're real people if you're not rich.
I agree. I think that he sees his supporters as just transactions. They are simply transactional to him, and the only requirement is that they like him, and they feed that to him. Now, his rich supporters, he likes to curry favor and say, "You're not going to have to pay taxes, and if you give me and my sons and the Trump org this deal, then I'm going to make it easier for you." He's just so blatantly corrupt. So Kylie just mentioned a really good point, listener. The food insecurity that is about to hit the richest country that has ever existed in the history of this planet is going to be Great Depression levels. And one of the most religious speakers of the House, who will not shut the fuck up about how religious he is, as everybody knows, is little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson. And the Speaker of the House is an incredibly powerful position. He has a stick that he could wield. Yet, Kanks, the guy that has full-blown dementia on display on the global stage right now, has little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson's balls tucked away neatly in his Oval Office desk drawer. And Moses Mike Grinder Johnson continues to be one of the worst speakers of the House. He's absolutely number one, the most worthless American on the planet right now is Moses Mike Grinder Johnson. He continues to abdicate all of his power to a man that is a sociopath with full-blown dementia. Play the clip.
Look, we give foreign policy, the execution of foreign policy to the executive branch. That's what the president is doing right now. There's lots of nuances about that. He's involved in...
Can you imagine these incels calling liberals weak, and this is who represents them? There's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to say. They kneel. You cannot call this a man. This is not a man.
negotiating trade agreements around the country to great success and benefit of the American people right now. Dozens of them being worked out. He's overseas right now doing the same thing. And
Okay. The question that the reporter asked there, the answer that Moses Mike was giving was to the question, what about the $40 billion that Kanks came up with to give to this whacked out nut job leader of Argentina? And he answers that he just defers to the president on all of that, and that the president is doing all of these great trade deals. These trade deals are such a disaster for the United States economy. And it's so important that people understand that these trade deals are a tax. And we are supposed to have no tax without representation. That representation starts with little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson. And he just stands there and says, I defer all of that to the president. And we can ask the fifth graders about, the co-equal branches of power. And it's his job, little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson, to say, hold up, you're telling me that you're not going to give SNAP benefits to Americans, and we're not going to pay our military, and we're not going to pay our air traffic controllers, and we're not going to pay these civil servants, but you're going to give a $40 billion bailout to Argentina because your billionaire friend is going to make a shit ton of money from it. And there was a time back in the government where the Republicans would hold other Republicans to account. And Moses Mike Grinder Johnson, it's not even a beta male, it's like a zeta male death knell to this man is so short-lived because you can...
They tell us what they think alpha and beta is. It's cringe. It's not real. It's based on a misunderstanding of science that only people who don't read could make. But they still define what they believe. They have their own definition of alpha and beta. By their own definition, their leaders are sub-beta. And they kneel and are obedient to sub-beta men who will never, ever face real men face to face. That's how you know who they are. When you say, let's turn the lights on and debate man to man, face to face, in person, phone, video, whatever, they run away. And everybody knows who's who. And they want to talk about liberals being weak and pretend that we can't see Mike Johnson, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Lindsey Graham. You kneel to weak men. You don't show up to face strong men. You lay down for weak men, and with your little fingers, you say that we're weak. Veterans. Men who are not afraid to show their community love. Men who are not afraid of truth. Who are not afraid of competition. Who love you enough, even as a drug addict getting high on self-delusion, to tell you there's still a way you can redeem yourself. There's still a way that we could be brothers. But not while you're a crackhead.
Just look at Kanks. And
not while you kneel to men like, I can't even call him a man. Not while you kneel to little creatures like Mike Grinder Johnson, and then you want to talk about strong and weak. No. You don't get to lay down for McDonald's made obese pussy neck having sexual assault PDF draft dodger felon orange orangutan painted face motherfuckers and talk to anybody about strength. Nope. No. Only in your little cult of make-believe. Out in the real world, we smack that shit down. As it should be. And that's why the fuck y'all hide.
Look at his brain and look at the physical manifestations of his aging and know that the minute Kanks dies, little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson's career dies with him. Because his whole identity is just kissing his ass.
Oh, there's always a job in the MAGA party for a dick sucker.
The lack of courage that these men have and how cowardice they are. And that they have the audacity to say that women are too emotional and not strong enough to be leaders when this guy's the biggest pussy ass kisser I've ever seen in my life.
Well, they all are. And put him up against Nancy Pelosi and I'll show you which one is more of a badass. And every day.
Completely. That's a great point. Okay, moving along. We always have a guy who speaks moral clarity, who never gets off message. And of course, I'm talking about Senator Bernie Sanders. And I just want to leave you all with this, because all of the other stuff we talked about is so depressing. But you have to remember, there are smart, compassionate, empathetic people in this country. And that's what we identify with. And Bernie Sanders, the atheist Jewish man, acts more Christian than little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson ever has in his entire life. Play the clip.
And now what brings us here today, in an absolutely unbelievable way, President Trump is refusing to release the $5 billion in emergency funding for SNAP that helps feed 16 million kids. And that is a direct violation of the law. He is prepared to let millions and millions of children and their parents and grandchildren go hungry because he sees maybe there is a political gain in that. Let there be no mistake, and that is what this statement is about. This is on the U.S. Department of Agriculture website until very recently. The president is legally obligated to use this emergency fund, and up until last week, his administration was preparing to do that. We are here today to send a very loud and a very clear message to President Trump. Obey the law. I know that's a hard concept for the president, but obey the law. Do what Congress mandated you do. Do not let children in America and their parents and grandchildren go hungry. Do not go down as the first president in history to manufacture a hunger crisis in the richest country on earth. Release these funds. Now, the good news is there are at least 11 Republicans in the Senate who are supporting a bipartisan bill to ensure that no one in America goes without the nutrition assistance they need during the shutdown. And that is very good news. And I thank those 11 Republicans. Every Democrat supports that bill as well. That bill, I say to Senator Thune, when you have 11 Republicans and every member of the Democratic caucus on support, that bill should get to the floor immediately. No child in this country should be forced to go hungry.
Okay.
All right, we'll leave it there for today, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. This is Love and Liberty. We show up Monday through Friday, 1:11 p.m. Mountain Time, and we work on ourselves and we work on cleaning up the toxic filth that MAGA is spreading through our society. We'll see you guys tomorrow.